Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I was trained by the government in remote viewing and in interspecies communication. How interesting today when we are already negotiating with ETs, and the negotiation is not going really well because the ETs need a place to park. That makes sense. They're not going to park on top of New York City, but apparently it would appear that in this country, the United States, the authorities are worried about having the ETs park here. Honestly, I would want them to park here. They're good people, they have a sense of humor, they're coming to help introduce to the galactic family. Yes, there's bad ETs, absolutely, and there's ETs that have been here forever. And no humans originated on planet Earth. So you have an ET background, but I think we should let them park, and I think they should park in Nebraska. Anyway, you have to get a sense of humor, but not a sense of humor to cover up whatever, a sense of humor because the ETs, these on this particular 31 Atlas object, which very obviously is not a meteorite or a comet, it can change direction, it can hide behind things. They have a sense of humor because my group, we've gone up, and tonight we're going to do it again. We get together as a group and we do a mantra, and not everybody, absolutely not everybody, but a lot of the members of the group are able to, it's not teleport, it's telepathy. Okay? So, but we're here for the horoscopes. So the horoscopes are for October the 27th, Monday, 2025. But what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put a little bit of a lens on my information, um, having to do with this happening, which is like the biggest happening in 5,000 years. And this is Revelations. It's part of Revelations to reveal what was always there, but we couldn't see it. Give me a second because we're trying to get something accomplished, and we have to, the whole thing with nobody trusting anybody. I have to give a login code. Let's see if this works this time. A lot of people are going to be in for a lot of surprises. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with the horoscopes. Let me say something. I'm not an astrologer. I use my remote viewing to give you information about the planets every week. Um, but I didn't go to business school, and I do, most of my income comes from reading people's businesses and business plans, not plans, but projects, etc. There are two things there's positive stuff in your horoscope and you don't get it, and your whole life you've been looking at horoscopes and saying, why do people believe in that? Because it never happens for me. It's because you're blocked. And there's two main things that block you. One, you could have somebody did black magic on you, and that will block the good stuff that the planets send, that we call the astrological energies. You have an astral energy body, but your astral energy body, if it's all tied up to a curse, you won't get the good stuff, or you won't get the good stuff in the areas that curse applies to, because they may curse you having to do with mate, but then your prosperity can continue because they didn't curse that part of you. It's very specific. It's not just throwing stuff out there and see. So if you have black magic, it's possible that the good stuff is not going to get to you. So it's not a question that astrology is no good. It's a question of that you're not ready to receive. The second thing is, if you have a huge childhood trauma and you never did your purification of that trauma. If you have a huge trauma, you have a human reaction to it. Your mind strings go like this. They retract, trying to get away. And if they don't open up again, you're left with a portal. That's literally how that happens. So if you purify the trauma, you do your work with your mantras or with the psychologist, if you talk about it endlessly, then that part of your mind, those mind strings extend again, and that portal gets closed. But until that happens, it's chances are that the good stuff that the planets send you, you're not going to get. Okay, let's trolley on over to doing the horoscopes. Um, Starting with the usual one, which is Aries, which is a male sign, and it is of the element of fire, which is not so much fun because we have global warming that's too much fire, and fire gives insomnia. It starts with insomnia, it ends in suicide. Insomnia, frustration, anger, emotional violence, physical violence, murder, and then suicide. All those are an excess fire. Aries is a fire element, which means they come in needing to deal with that element, so they're not having so much fun. So, Aries, what do you need to know in relationship to this big thing in Revelations, which is the fact that there's stuff out there in the galaxy and that it's coming in? So, what do you need to know? You're in a process of purification, and you're purifying from your shoulders up, this part of you, which is your throat energy center. It's called the throat chakra. And it has to do, this is the first energy center that connects to off planet. And you're in a purification of that energy center. When I did the horoscopes in Spanish, a lot of the people said that they were Aries and that they had horrible aches and pains with their throat. So just know that it has to do with a purification. It's not that you're congesting the fire, but that you're getting purified. Jesus Christ was purified by the element of water before he started his ministry. You're purifying by the element of fire. So you can't feel too good. Your throat cannot feel very good. But just know that this is a process. Okay? And hopefully this will help you. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next sign, which is Taurus. Taurus is a female sign. Here we go again. Another one. I am sorry, but I'm not sure what, I thought that's what it was. Oh, I apologize. Um, Taurus is a female sign and it's earth sign. So, Taurus, what do you need to know? I see you standing outside the door of your home. You made a decision that took you probably a couple of years to make. You're really slow pokes, Taurus. But that's it. You're going to do it. And you're putting the key in the door and you're going to lock it and you're going to get moving. And then you start to think, well, maybe they're really not going to listen to me or they're not going to believe me. So that's your latest excuse, Taurus, for not doing what you have to do, which is what you decided you wanted to do. Not that this was imposed from the outside. So, Taurus, let me give you a mantra. Please, God, help me with my intention. That the results be miraculous. The results of whatever it is that you decided that you want to do. And just know that this must be important, because if it wasn't important, you wouldn't have spirits whispering in your ear. They're probably not going to believe me. Suppose they don't listen. Da, 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 da. All that racquetball in the head is always spirits that know how to speak in your head, in your voice. So just do that mantra and trolley on. Finish locking that door. Turn around. Go and do what you know that you're going to do, that you wanted to do for a couple of years, and that you know that you're not going to be able to move forward in any arena in your life until you do that you decided you want to do. Okay? So let's go ahead on to the next sign, which is Gemini, which is a male sign. And when my caller is that off, I am that off, and that's true. That's true. Gemini is a male sign and it's an air sign, which means lots of thoughts. So, Gemini, what do we need to do about you this week with all this stuff going on with the galactic stuff? Um, is it affecting you? What do you need to know? You find it kind of stimulating. Actually, it almost feels like it's pulling you out of a hole. Maybe you've been bored with the same old, same old. I don't know. But I see you coming like you were buried, which sometimes means a curse, un entierro. But whatever. But you're coming out of it and you're kind of like stimulated. Geminis are mind and they like new stuff. They get bored easily and they need movement. And maybe all of this stuff that's happening and that is being debated is working for you, Gemini. Now, guess who's Gemini? It's important in your life. Your president, President Trump. Makes sense to me. But when I read, I'm not reading a person. I'm reading for the astrological sign, even though today I got stuck on a person, the dictator in Venezuela. I could just see him as I was talking about his sign. So then I had to go and check other people to make sure that I wasn't being biased, which I wasn't. But anyway, um, we're going to go ahead with the next sign, which is a Cancer. Cancer is a female sign and it's a water sign. Water is emotions. Cancer, for a couple years, we've seen drowning in emotions, and then after that, getting rescued from the drowning in emotions, and then after that, symbolically in a helicopter over the beach, but the water part of it, and people are drowning or getting out of the water. Water's emotions. But today, what I see is that Cancer doesn't want to have to be dealing with people that are dealing with a lot of emotions. Cancer is going on to next, whatever that might happen to be. In other words, I'm Cancer. The patience that people that are Cancer have had with the people that have a lot of emotional trauma, I think that patience ends now. It's not that the Cancer is going to think emotions are not important. No, on the contrary. But Cancer does not want to be right there with you with your emotional issues. So that's a good thing for me because emotions really are what take people down. Look what happened to Darth Vader. He got taken down because he never purified his reaction to the loss of his mother. And I know you're going, okay, I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm not a fan of all of these fantasy, whatever. But there's a message line, a multi level message line in Star Wars that is going to explain a lot, such as I don't know who's negotiating with the ETs that are coming in on that spaceship that's very obviously not a comet or a meteorite. That person is interested, and it's not the president, in the rare earths. Did you know that the ETs need minerals that we have here in this planet to function? Did you know that that's one of the main issues with why everybody wants to control Venezuela? And I believe it's one of the issues with Ukraine. And look what China just did with rare earths. So interesting. We're going to continue forward. Leo. And the reason I brought that up is because in Star Wars, those spaceships go to different planets and they don't go there to have cocktail parties or to enroll in schools. They're there mining. Important. Leo. Leo is a male sign and it is a fire sign. There we go again with having to deal with fire. Same image I got when I did this in Spanish. From here up, Leo looks like an ET. I can't change the information. That is the information that I get. I can't fix it. I can't change it. So what does that mean? It would appear to me none of us is originally from planet Earth. So this whole thing of ETs and where do they come and they say some of them are here. Yes, if you're here, then yes, some of them are here. We are multidimensional. This is only one piece of us and the least interesting. What does this mean for Leo? I have no idea, but that's the information I get. I can't change it. And if I was supposed to go deeper as I was speaking, I would get more information. Not happening. This is your horoscope from Francis Fox this week, Leo. That, and of course, from here up is your third eye, which means your psychic abilities and your wisdom, contrary to the people that want to control you with fluoride in your water and your toothpaste. The third eye is about wisdom. It's about extra information. And then they threw out these conspiracies so that everybody would be afraid of them. Okay, I'm not getting into that. We're going to go on to the next sign, which is Virgo. Virgo is a female sign and it's an earth sign. And Virgos are not going to be happy with all this new information coming in. They're not going to be happy. It's too much. Virgos are perfectionists. So you get this much information coming in for somebody who's a perfectionist and wants to be able to understand and to figure it out and then to maybe even share it. This is not a good thing. So Virgo is not happy with all this. Next week is not going to be happy with all the information that apparently is going to get revealed. So, but it makes sense. When you're a perfectionist, you don't really want to get into new things. You want to be able to figure it out before you have to actually do it. And you need the time to understand it, and then you'll move forward. Well, I don't know. It's been thousands of years. You need to widen your lens so that the next, from here forward, it's going to be really, really difficult. And I have to tell you that my group, we have entered that spaceship, which is not difficult. It's a mind thing. And they have a sense of humor. And they said they need a place to park. But that makes sense because you see all those movies and they're parking, they're on top of New York City, they're on top of a populated area, and this is a huge thing. It makes sense that they would want a place to park. It makes total sense. And they made other jokes that were kind of loosened up the whole seriousness of what's going on in there and what are their intentions. Right now, they want a place to park. Okay, so let's continue with Libra, which is the next sign, which is a male sign and it's an air sign, which means mind. Same thing I saw before. Libra has a huge disc, gold color, on top of the head, which means crown chakra, which means faith, which means connected to God. Libra, and Libra's been through living hell. I mean, Libra has been through living hell. I don't know if they learned everything they need to learn, whatever. They look really good. So that's the information I have for Libra. Your crown chakra, which is connection to God and faith. I've never seen anything look like that. Now, the duly elected vice president of Venezuela is a Libra. And according to everybody that follows me, she's the one who's really in charge, not the president. They use some kind of cockamamie excuse to not let her run for president. But she's there, and the people are happy with her, and she's representing them. And she looks connection to God. God is not physical. Is he an ET? Lots of interesting stuff. Scorpio is the next sign, which is a female sign, and it's a water sign and water's emotions. Scorpio. Same image. I see you with a clipboard. You're next to the water, and you're looking at everybody, and you're figuring out that there's a group of people that are just that they're not you that you are not going to be able to work with them. They're just too they can't widen the lens. So if there's any ET landings and communication that everybody finds out about, that group of people is going to create a problem for society because they just can't take it. Their lens is too narrow and they're just hanging on to the physical. So, but this is Scorpio that's documenting it. And then there's another group that's mainly younger and their lens is wider and they can be worked with. They can be worked with having to do with this it's that apparently is going to be happening. And then Scorpio is of the opinion that we should not waste time on the people that are completely reacting against and just can't take this information. We are in revelations. It's not just going to be the bad stuff that our Congress people did, or the cartels did, or our kids did. It's wider than that. It's basically everything, and that everything has to be the connection of this planet to off planet. So Scorpio is of opinion that there will be a group that there will be no working with them. Kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense. Okay, let's continue forward. Sagittarius is the next sign. That's a male sign and it's a fire sign. Again, they have to deal with the fire. I see Sagittarius better than I've seen him for years. They're sitting behind a desk and their people, their family, the people at business, whatever, is around their desk looking at them like this. And Sagittarius is looking up and saying, I told you this was going to happen. But Sagittarius does not appear to be fazed by it. Sagittarius is stable on his desk doing his work, and the people around him are like not demanding. They're like in a state of shock. What do we do? And the Sagittarius says, I told you this was going to happen. Now, interesting thing is that the dictator of Venezuela is Sagittarius. And then the rest of the horoscope read in Spanish was, I told you if we wake up the animal, it's going to be a problem. And he was referring to Trump. So you figure it out. That's what I have. I don't like to just do one person. I do generic, but this was given to me from one person. Then I checked other people, and it's the same thing. So if you're a Sag, you're probably feeling more in control than you have for a long time. You've told people, listen, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. They didn't pay any attention. So you're just moving on with your life. You're getting your work done, and they're standing around like, huh, huh, huh. And you're like, I told you. And so let's go on to the next sign. Capricorn is the next sign, and it is a female sign, and it's an earth sign. They don't have paranoia. They're very aware of danger, and they feel very responsible for their family and for protecting them and taking care of them. So we always see Capricorn in their home, and they're putting up fences, and they're putting up alarm systems, and they're standing outside the home, making sure nobody can come near. But in this case, they have these barriers at the end of the street, so people can't drive by their home. But then they take the barriers down, like, okay, let's let people drive by, and then they put them back up again, and then they decide to leave the barriers up again, but they go on the outside of the barriers so that when people come, they can chat with them because they really want to be with people again. They want to be able to not party, maybe party. They want community. They want to talk to people, but they're not ready to let just anybody in. They'll go out and meet people, but they're not going to bring them back home or to their offices. So that's what I see with Capricorn. So something in terms of danger has gotten better for Capricorn. And they want to start exchanging with other people again. That's nice. That's good. Aquarius is the next sign. Aquarius is a male sign and it's an air sign. And Aquarius has been stucker than stuck. In one room, recycling, bouncing off against the walls. No, Aquarius has a suitcase that's this size. And it packed it. Aquarius went to the door, walked out, locked it, walking down the hall, and then it gets together with people, having a nice time, very relaxed. And people say, and you, what's your story? And Aquarius goes, we don't need to know my story. We'll do that later. Let's just have a nice time. So Aquarius made some kind of a decision to not be so stuck in their place. And Aquarius wants to meet people and to be with people. And Aquarius isn't going to be hung up on their past and what should happen, what should not happen, the opinions and the thought, this is what I figured out. No, I just want to get out of here, and I'm not taking a lot of baggage with me. I want to travel light, and I don't even want to talk about me. I want to know what's going on with other people, but not as in gossip or curious, just exchanging community. So Aquarius wants community without a lot of baggage. Rich, poor, whatever, doesn't matter. I like that. I have somebody in my family who's Aquarius. Okay, we're going on to the last sign, which is Pisces. And Pisces is a female sign, a water sign, which is emotions. Pisces. You're in your home. You have a pole in the middle of the house, and it punches through the roof, and you cause the pole to spin in the direction of the hands of a clock, which is clockwise, which is the direction of the crown chakra, which has to do with faith. in connection to God. So Pisces has had a very hard time having faith because Pisces came into this incarnation remembering all the god awful things people did to each other, not to Pisces, to each other in all the other incarnations, the lack of compassion, the horrors. They wake up in this incarnation and they look and they go, oh my God, all over again. And supposedly, according to astrologers, and it makes sense, they close off. They just put themselves in a box. They don't want to feel anything. But Pisces is out of that. Pisces is connecting to spirit, to God, to faith. Faith is a hard thing for Pisces because of all the other incarnations, all that they witnessed. Not necessarily what they went through, but what they witnessed, which for them is as bad as if they had gone through it. So this is a wonderful thing for Pisces. They have long vision. So they're going to be very helpful in the process that we're going to go through now. So those are my horoscopes. And I had wanted to give you the link, and I should have left it up the entire time. I finished my book on cannabis. You can't buy it. It looks like you can buy it there, but you can't buy it. So don't buy it. I should have it within 5 or 6 days on that same link. But I do have the intro and some information that you might want to look at. Cannabis is going to be very important, and I really didn't realize it till this week. Cannabis is a multidimensional herb. And in your mind, it lifts veils so you can see other dimensions. In my experience, the first time I tried it, I laughed and I went, my God, now people are going to be able to see a lot of what it is that I see that they can't see unless they take cannabis. And I remember I was walking, I didn't feel anything when I tried it the first time. I smoked it. And then I had to get some food. So I went in my car and I drove to the food store. But when I'm walking across the parking lot, I looked down and I could see my physical legs were not keeping up with my astral spirit legs. It's like I had two sets of legs, which we do, but they weren't working together. One was walking faster than the other. And I was like, what on earth? And then I realized I had just smoked cannabis. And I laughed and I went, oh my God, obviously I'm not aligned the way I should be because I'm always too much in a hurry, too much fire. But then I thought, this is so funny because it explains what is considered a side effect of cannabis, which is paranoia. It's not paranoia. It's a lifting of the veils so that you can see the other dimensions and beings there. Why am I bringing it up now? Because it's a wonderful assist for opening up to this world that's opening up now, which has to do with galactic beings and their spaceships, to be able to see, but not to frighten you, but for you to know what's already there anyway. And who knows? The Nazis worked with the ETs and look at what they achieved. My God. And so did the Egyptians. So if you have good intentions, you can work with ETs, and who knows where you're going to get. What is that going to look like? I don't know. But it definitely should not just be limited to the government the way it has been limited in the past. So look at my description and then come back next week and order it and read it. And always have the intention to take that information in a way that can help you for this new world that we're entering, which is called the Golden Age. We're in the chaos. We're in the revelations, which creates chaos. But we're going into the Golden Age. But there's supposed to be a mess before. Yeah, it's going to be a mess. But the more people know, the less of a mess it's going to be. Thank you for listening. I'm going to